Imagine a poor boy in a small village working 17 hours a day in the fields just for one meal. Now imagine that this same boy went on to create a car company worth 1 lakh crore. This is the story of Hyundai's founder Chung Ju-young. Chung Ju-young was born in 1915. It happened in a small village in Korea. His dream was to become a school teacher. But his family's financial condition was so poor that he could not even complete his own education. In childhood, he had to work day and night in the fields with his family. But even after such hard work, there were many such days. Chung had to go to the nearby city several times to sell wood, where he saw that people had sufficient food and wore good clothes, even without working day and night in the fields. Seeing all this, they started getting frustrated with their poverty and farm life, and they started wanting a better life for himself as well. One day, he read in a newspaper article that a big construction project was starting in a nearby city and they needed workers for that project. As soon as he read this, he fell into thought and his heart started beating faster, and in 1932, at the age of 16, Chung made a shocking decision that they were going to leave their home and run away to the city. One night, Chung secretly set out towards the city with a friend. After traveling about 160 kilometers, they reached Kowan city. They arrived and took up work as a construction laborer. The work was quite difficult and the earnings were quite low, but Chung was very happy because for the first time in life, he was independent. For about 2 months, this continued until they were caught. Chung's father found him and he had to return to the village and engage in farming. His family was quite happy with his return, but Chung was not happy. These 2 months of work had ignited a passion for construction and civil engineering within Chung. Also, he knew that by working in the fields, he could never escape poverty. And so he tried to run away 2 more times, but both times his father, they make the attempt and this time no one stops them. They reach Seoul, which is the capital of South Korea. There they did whatever work they could find, first as a construction laborer, then as a factory worker, and finally they got a job as a delivery boy at a Bokyo rice store. The customers and shop owners were so impressed with his work that within 6 months he was given the responsibility of managing the store from the delivery boy. After that, Chung worked very hard and through his own efforts, the shop was ग्रो किया 1937 में. स्टोर के ओनर सीरियसली बीमार पड़ गए और उन्होंने एक सरप्राइजिंग फैसला लिया. चंग की मेहनत को देखते हुए उन्होंने स्टोर को चंग के हवाले कर दिया. 22 साल की उम्र में चंग अब एक एम्प्लॉय से बिजनेस के ओनर बन चुके थे. अगले 2 सालों में चंग ने और मेहनत की. He built the trust and reputation in the market, which made the business grow rapidly. Everything was going well when suddenly a tragedy occurred. It was the time of World War II, and at that time, Korea was under Japanese rule. The Japanese wanted their military to have a sufficient rice supply during the war. As a result, they took ownership of all the rice shops. Chung's rice shop was also taken away, and the business built with years of effort ended in one stroke. Chung was very upset, but he did not give up. If I work wholeheartedly on anything, I can be successful in it. With this thought, he started looking for a business in which there was no interference from the Japanese government. Very soon both zeroed down on the car repair business, and in 1940 they took a loan of 3,000 won and opened Edo Service Garage. But this time their luck was so bad that just a month after opening, a fire broke out in the garage and everything was reduced to ashes. Chung's situation was quite difficult. They had to repay their loan and also compensate the customers for their losses due to the fire. A normal person could easily give up in such a situation, but Chung, as always, faced it. They took a fresh loan of 3,500 won and established an even better garage. Chung saw that the biggest problem for customers was that their car repairs took several weeks, so they focused on speed. Made their main focus where a competitor took 20 days for a certain repair, Chung's garage completed the same repair in 5 days. Their garage became so successful that in the next 3 years, by 1943, their workforce had grown to 80 employees. By this time, Chung had fully repaid his loan and settled his family in Seoul. The business was growing rapidly, and then another major disaster occurred. Japan needed to manufacture war-related equipment for World War II, so Japan took ownership of their garage and merged it with a local steel plant. Once again, years of their hard work built up. Chung was key. was taken back to square one in a single blow. He had to return to the village with his family, but this time he had savings of 50,000 won and was confident he could build a business again. With the end of World War II, Japan's rule in Korea also ended. The northern area of Korea had the influence of the Soviet Union and the southern area had the influence of America because both had in World War II. Together, they fought a war against Japan, which led Korea to be divided into North and South Korea. In 1946, Chung returned to Seoul and restarted his car repair business. The business was old, but this time the name was new, Hyundai Autoserve. Im nachstartstosterity, ohne pastor hanach kenkedlatskip. The car repair business was going alright when Chung noticed that America was constructing buildings for its military forces. He spotted a big opportunity in the construction business. Although they did not have much experience in construction, they still had the passion for construction that they had gained by working as a laborer in their young days. And so, at the age of 31 in 1947, they started Hyundai Civil Works. Initially, they got quite small jobs, but by 1950, their company was getting major construction projects, and this had now become their major business. Everything was going well until another twist came in the story. In June 1950, North Korea attacked South Korea. North Korean troops had come very close to Seoul, which is why Chung had to leave all his work and flee to Busan with his savings. But after such a big crisis, they needed tents, warehouses, and the army headquarters. Chung observed that the Americans lacked money issues, they just needed reliable and timely delivery, and Chung provided that to the Americans. They had a small S. Adopted, meaning if the price was right, they were ready to take on any construction project. The war was ongoing, and in such a situation they faced many problems and suffered losses several times. But once they gave their word, they never any project. In 1952, the war ended, but Chung continued to receive contracts from Americans, and later the South Korean government also began rapidly building bridges, dams, and roads to rebuild the country. In all this, Hyundai built South Korea's largest dam, Soyang Dam, and their most important expressway, the Gyeongbu Expressway. By 1960, Chung had reached his early 50s and was the owner of a successful construction company. But he was not satisfied with this. Chung had built thousands of kilometers of roads, and now it was time to make the cars that would run on those roads. In 1967, Chung, and in 1968, made a deal with Ford in which they were going to assemble Ford's Cortina cars. For 2 years, this joint venture ran successfully, after which conflicts started developing between the two companies. Ford did not want that Hyundai make his own car. And so in 1973, Chung ended this partnership and immediately started looking for new partners. He made deals with companies like General Motors and Volkswagen for manufacturing technology. Tried? But everyone refused. Finally, in that same year, they made an agreement with Japan's Mitsubishi Motors. Mitsubishi was ready to provide Hyundai with the technology to make cars. The best part was that in this deal, Hyundai for this, an order was issued to make a citizen's car, a car that is affordable and reliable and contains parts made only in South Korea. In 1976, Chung set up a new plant, and Hyundai made South Korea's first ever The produced car Hyundai Pony, due to its affordability, became so successful in South Korea that Hyundai quickly captured 60% market share and became the largest car company there. But there was a catch. The total car market in South Korea was only 30,000 cars, which was not sufficient to be profitable. Also, while the Hyundai Pony was a huge success in South Korea, in overseas markets it was an equally big failure. The car's quality was not good. The paint would crack in the heat, and it regularly had mechanical issues. For these reasons, Hyundai Motor Company had been running at a loss for the past 7 years. People told Chung that it should be shut down as soon as possible, but Chung's decision shocked everyone. Instead of closing the company, they were going to build a new car factory that could produce 3 lakh cars every year. The company's management couldn't understand this decision. After all, in a market of 30,000 cars, who will buy 300,000 cars? But Chang knew the answer to this. The South Korean economy was growing rapidly, and every year thousands of people were coming out of poverty and becoming economically empowered, which meant that in the next few years the demand for cars was going to increase rapidly. Plus, Hyundai's new cars were specifically in foreign countries. It was made to be exported. And in the year 1980, this factory was ready. Not only was the Pony 2 car launch a super hit in South Korea, but it was also successful in countries like Africa, Latin America, and Canada. Exported in the next few years, Hyundai had become profitable by selling 400,000 cars. Hyundai had now established itself as a decent car company on a global level, but the world's toughest and biggest car market. To transition from an internationally decent car company to a major car company, it was necessary to be successful in the USA. When Hyundai studied the US market, they saw that the Japanese had captured the compact car segment, and US coast, there was intense competition. So Hyundai targeted the subcompact market, where the competition was virtually zero. Alongside, Hyundai observed that the market for second-hand cars in the USA was very large. They offered their new Hyundai Excel to these customers at the price of a second-hand car. This strategy shook up the US car market. Second-hand car buyers instantly shifted to the Hyundai Excel. In 1986, Hyundai sold about 170,000 Excels in the US. Anki Saiksi CES, and in 1987, about 260,000. In both these years, the Hyundai Excel was the US's selling imported car became. No other car company had given such a big initial success in the US market until then. And with this, Hyundai established itself as a major car company on a global level. That same year, at the age of 72, Chung retired from Hyundai and took the title of honorary chairman, after which his brothers and sons took over the company and managed it with the same determination as before. Today, Hyundai is the world's third largest car company, and in 2022 alone, they produced approximately 4 million cars. There are 42 different companies like Hyundai Elevator, Hyundai Information Technology, and Hyundai Heavy Industries, which is the world's largest shipbuilding company. And because of Hyundai, South Korea today surpassed Japan to be, for South Korea, Hyundai is not just a normal company. Hyundai is an institution that rebuilt the country, created thousands of jobs, and South Korea is so gained global recognition. And all of this was started by a boy from a village who did not have basic facilities like food, education, and healthcare, but had immense passion, a vision, and most importantly, a date. If you want to know how pressing a wrong switch caused the entire plane to crash, itu set the